Okay, so we're here with Roberto Masala, aka Romo.
Yo, what's up? What's
How's
good?
it going?
It's going great. How about yourself?
Great, great. Definitely nice and hot here. How's the weather in Italy?
Yeah, the weather
Oh,
here.
you're in Greece right now, right?
Yes, actually, yes. I was about to say yes. I'm in Greece now. Today was a little bit windy, but we have like 32 Celsius here. So very close to 100 something Fahrenheit.
Yeah, so pretty close to here. Nice.
Yes.
Okay, let's get into good stuff here. So you're a producer, DJ, and beatboxer. So I'm curious, which one of those came first? And then about what time? If you can remember.
Oh my God. It's difficult to say. Okay, first DJ and then this producer and maybe unconsciously beatboxer in a way that I would, why unconsciously? Because I didn't know that this was called beatboxing in the mid 90s. I was a teenager in Italy, I'm coming from the island of Sardinia, which is an island in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, and it takes 1 hour by plane to go to the mainland. So in Sardinia, it was back in the days much more isolated than the mainland, because mainland is connected to all Europe, right? Back in the days, like a flight had a different price than now. Like now the flights are cheaper and people are traveling. Okay, before the pandemic they used to. But anyway, so I didn't know. I started imitating sounds as a beatboxer. You know, I was listening to we could call it like Euro dance, like that was what was popular on the radio, because there were like Italian productions like Piano House or Eurodance, like Corona. That's a big project that was very famous pretty much all over the world. And, you know, I was just listening to this Eurodance to differentiate myself from the pop sound that was on the radio in Italy. Like there was this new thing called house music or Eurodance. And I was like, I love that sound. And I was trying to imitate the sound. So the synthesizers, you know, like the sounds of the of the kick drum, the drum beats, unconsciously trying to create something with my mouth, like something very basic. You know, I'm practicing this unconscious. And then, you know, I started listening to the hip hop, and then I saw Will Smith on television doing like, you know, beatbox, and I was like, what's that? What is it? And, you know, yeah. And also we had a show, you know, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in Italy. And, you know, I remember like Jay-Z Jeff and Fresh Prince. And I think it was during one of the episodes of the series that they were beatboxing, and there was like Jazzy Jeff like scratching. It was called jazz, right? So it was like doing scratching and trying to annoying the uncle, if I remember correctly. So he was trying to make the uncle. I think I remember he was saying like, "You're making noises with this turntable. You're ruining my turntable." It was like funny comedy stuff. And I said, "What is that?" You know. And then I started buying, you know, hip hop records from the early 90s, and then I discovered that was a thing. That was something called beatboxing.
You know, and then so I was cool. Like, you're doing it before you even knew.
Connecting, you connecting the dots. Yeah, because in the 90s, before the internet came, you know, in America, it was like a little bit, I don't want to say fading down, but it wasn't like popular as it used to be in the 80s, the beatboxing, right? So it wasn't like the thing like breakdancing. It was a little bit in this phase, which, you know, they were still doing this underground. Yeah, there were also big events, but, you know, there was nothing like that on TV.
No mainstream, yeah.
Then they were transmitting also like I don't know if it was legal or illegal, only a Sardinian channel, MTV UK. And then I remember I saw like a documentary there about the hip hop sound, something like that. And then there was also a show called Chill Out Zone, like late in the evening in the UK. In Italy, they were transmitting this during the day. And there were all these sounds from Aphex Twin, all this like future sound of London, all these new experiments, the Orb, this type of psychedelic, in a way, like electronic jungle music, drum and bass, you know, like the early stuff, Prodigy. And I was like, I got mesmerized also by this, you know, and then I started DJing like 1996, something like that, because a guy had like 2 turntables and a mixer, and he was practicing. So I was going to his house to practice with him. He had records, you know, I didn't have records. And I was practicing like with this, they were like very like old school, like very simple turntables, very simple mixer as well, basic stuff. And then, you know, I started like slowly buying records instead of buying the food at school. I was saving money, you know, I was starving in a way. And then, you know, buying the food without telling my mom, because I love my parents, but they weren't very supportive in the beginning. So they were like, why are you buying records? Like, wasting your money, you know, because records, the new generation, there probably doesn't know that the records were very expensive. We could say they would cost something like, you know, $12 to $15 to $20 each, you know, we could say like that wasn't a cheap thing to buy for a teenager, you know. And sometimes I remember like going to the vinyl shop, and there was this the guy who was selling vinyls. He was also mixing, and he had like a console. So we were, you know, going to him and asking, could we try to and then he was showing us. His name is Sandro Mellis. Maximum respect. He used to be a DJ in like the village, in the city, 20 kilometers away where I was born, because I was born in a small town, 1,500 people, called Millis.
It's small.
And I was going to school to Oristano. It's like 20 minutes by car. And then I was going to this shop, and I was also making orders. And that, for instance, like buying the first CDs that I couldn't find in the other shops, like, I don't know, the Prodigy or like the Goldie albums, you know, they were very, very hard to find in Italy because they were imports. And slowly, you know, started to develop a collection and interest. Also going to the club, like 1995, 1996, sneaking around, going with people much elder than me by car, you know, this type of stuff. Slowly looking at the DJ, like, this is God. Like, he had all these people dancing in the club, and people vibing with it, with this music, which I was really loving it. House music, dance music, the hits of the night. Techno music as well, something like that, like a mix. Like back in the days, it was like a little bit of this, a little bit of that, depending on the moment, on the feeling. The DJ had all these records, of course, vinyl. And slowly, you know, I was I remember like started producing around 1996, 1997, because my friend had a PC.
Oh, so you were doing it on a computer.
I started on my computer without any musical knowledge whatsoever. You know, like, my father wanted to buy me a guitar, and I said, I need a sampler. I found this magazine. It was called Trend Discotheque, Italian magazine about DJ culture and stuff. One of the first magazines, and they were sponsoring the samplers. If I remember correctly, it was a Roland MC303. It's it was like a groove box machine. Some flash. No, it wasn't sampling. It was a groove box with sounds inside, like electronic dance music sounds. And, you know, my dream was like, oh, I should buy that, because all the pros, you know, in my teenager had, like, the only thing I knew was how they making music. They making music with these boxes. You know. Also, I was looking at the video clips for instance, from the Prodigy, and he had like all these keyboards and synthesizers and massive samplers, and sometimes you could see the name, and there was Akai here and there, or like hip hop producers in the video sometimes, you know, although as I said, you go documentary slowly, you know, but the only thing I could afford was this PC from my friend, not even from me, because I didn't have the money, and I was too young to get a PC. Like, it was so expensive back then, so it was like, I don't know, $1,000 of
they're so
1995.
That's how everybody gets started though back then, and with you know the friends, and you're like, hey, you got a synth, I've got a drum machine, let's make a band.
And there were turntables, you know, that I asked this, I pushed this guy who had the turntables to give them to me, because he wasn't very interested. He was like, oh, I bought them, like whatever, but he was doing like parties for because in Sardinia we have this thing, or we used to have, that when people got 18, they were doing a big celebration party, right? And then basically we were getting wasted and then going to paint rhymes on the streets, you know, on the concrete with paint, right?
Oh,
writing,
like permanent paint.
Yeah, it was a thing. And then there was a big party before going to the it was like a military, like a year, right? You used to go to the military to do this 1 year military thing, right? But then it's no longer a thing, it doesn't exist now. So but that was the big, and then they were organizing these big parties called leva, Leva, which is like people, means in the Sardinian language, because we have another language which is different than Italian, means people of the same age. So people born in 1981, especially male, they were going to write, and then together with the girls as well, like doing the party. And they were doing this party, and there was a DJ usually, right? That was like one of my first chances to play, right? For this crowd, right? For the crowd. Like, it was like we were all pretty much the same age. Also, people from other towns were coming over, you know, to come to just, of course, meeting the girls, chatting around. You know, it was like a funny thing, like teenager thing. Like, that was the first occasion for me to try my skills as a DJ. And then slowly, you know, getting into production, trying to, of course, at the beginning, trying to imitate that song, try to sample even like that song, trying to take the kick, because back in the days, it was so difficult to find sample packs.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was like,
so digital.
Then going to the kiosk also, where they have newspapers, and then trying to find demo versions of the softwares, right? Because then that's how I discovered Cubase 1.2 something, like Windows 95, Windows 3.1 something. I don't remember the version because it was transitioning, you know, from Windows 3.1 to Windows 95. But anyway, so we tried to install here and there, and there were the first plugins, you know, like delays, echo, equalizers, that I knew that they were like a reproduction of the thing that you could see on a radio, right? Oh, so if you tweak the high levels, if you tweak the bass, or you know, there were the first plugins. They were like a virtual synthesizer wasn't even a thing, wasn't even invented. Like, maybe there was, but I wasn't aware. Like 1995, 1996. So
I started with a big label, maybe.
Yeah, man. I started with the Music Maker is the software they're still doing. Magix, maximum respect. I bought the first software. I found Music Maker 1.0 as a demo, but then I was like a very old school version. Like in 1996, they released the 3.0, and I saw it in a magazine, and I thought, oh my God. The easy version. I need to collect, instead of buying vinyls. With my friend, we started collecting money to buy the original software, right? And then we even bought like a sample pack, like there was like a techno trance extension, right? And then we started messing around, you know, like every day after school, you know.
That's the way
right
you do
after
it.
school, like that was the thing. Every day, like religiously, like, you know. Let's make a song. Let's try to make a techno song. Let's try to make this. Let's try to do this. Let's try to sample that. It was like transitioning from video games to production, putting on recording
kind
on
of similar, yeah.
recording on cassette. It sounded horrible, super lo-fi quality, without any notion of mix and master whatsoever, you know. And then we were saying, we thought that those were the best songs in the world. They were like, oh my God, Jesus. I remember like listening to Daft Punk 1995, 1996, the first releases of the French duo, and they were like, Jesus, what is this? What are they using?
Yeah.
The filtering thing? And we're trying to replicate this with the equalizer slowly, like that tweak, but there was not even automation in this software. You know, I don't want to go so technical, but it was like everything was like pretty manual, and everything was sample based, you know, like, so only sounds. There was no MIDI in this software, in this version. So it was, everything was WAV files, drag and drop, and this type of stuff. And then slowly, you know, sending to the labels, and they're getting rejections. Of course, they were saying, guys, there is an idea, there is something there, but it doesn't sound right. And then it's not ready, you know. And they were getting very disappointed, pushing them, calling them every day. Hey, did you get that? Because we were sending tapes. Did you get the demo? Did you get this? Did you get that? You know, very pushy as a kid, you know. Like,
Well, that's
like,
cool.
very anxious. Like, we want to, you listen to this. Anyways, that was the start. That was the beginning, like 1995, 6, 7, 8, before organizing the events, you know, before going into the hip hop, like there was this dance music phase, we can say.
Nice. Do you have any more of those tapes still?
I do. I
I
have all those tapes. Yes, I have them in cassette, but also I try to you know, take some of them, record, and I have them on the PC. Like, I try to polish some of the songs. Yeah, we even like had like our one of the first, because we were a duo called Mantra. I forgot to tell you that. And there was this girl in Milis and said, oh, I want to sing, I want to do stuff. And then, I don't know, like there was like a trend back then, like of the like tribal house using like Spanish singing vocals. And then I said, okay, but let's sing in Spanish. Why can't you, can you say something in Spanish? It sounds sexy. I don't know. Spanish is like Italian. Come on, like, let's mix it up. Something like that. So there is this song called El ritmo, el sonido. So the rhythm, the sound. Anyways, but if you listen to it, there is like a logic into it. It's like tribal house, but with this vocal, which sounds robotic. But it's like, she sounded like, I don't know how we did it. We made her sound like super robotic. She's like el ritmo, el sonido, like sampling, repitch. I don't know, like tweaking things with this basic.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. Great.
It's great.
Never released, of course, because the mix and master, like it was not possible to release this because it was lo-fi, and you couldn't give them a demo in a cassette because it was not professional. In like old school cassette, like they needed, at least, we didn't have a CD recording of this. Like you would have to cut this and master this in a way. We didn't have like CD recorder.
I don't think I recorded my first CD to 98, 99, maybe. I don't know. So a little later than that.
Yeah. Because it was so expensive, you know. I was like, we can't afford now to buy this, and that's why they were rejecting us. But they were very nice, you know, because they were saying, guys, it's good. We could release some of this stuff, you know, but they were honest, you know, because back in the days, everything had to go to the professional studio. You know, there was a different way of doing the things. It was not like now that everything is in the box. So you in theory, you can do everything with a PC. Also, we didn't have professional monitor speakers to do. We had like basic cheap speakers from the grocery shop. I don't know, like $10 stuff. We didn't have
all
a clue.
treble, no bass.
Yes, right, exactly. Zero bass, like, and we needed like headphones to in order to listen to the bass because it was horrible. But we didn't even know because the magazines, I remember like there was like Cubase magazine started in when I bought the first issue was 1996, I think, and that was like a different. When we opened that magazine, Respect, we thought, okay, we're not professional because we were talking about stuff that we weren't aware, right? I don't know, sampling format, sampling quality, all like you need to buy this mic, monitor speaker, and we were thinking, why is it called monitor speaker? Monitor is something, it's a screen, right? And then we didn't know it's called monitor. We thought, why did you say monitors? And so it was confusing, you know. It was like, what are you talking about? Also, they were interviewing the pros in Italy, and they all had like pictures in this big recording studios, and we felt bad. Said, how come they have? I think you must be rich to make music. So we got a little bit discouraged, you know, because we bought this Cubase magazine. It was like for the pros, you know, it was like, oh, Pro Tools. What is Pro Tools? Oh my God, Pro Tools it costs like $10,000. I have this cheap stuff. Like, I don't know if I can make music.
Only
No,
pros can buy it. Yeah, that's good. What are you?
That was a funny story anyway.
So what do you think were the advantages of the way you went about DJing and producing?
Back in the days, also it was rough and tough in a way because the other DJs didn't want in the beginning they didn't want to help us in a way, like they were like, oh, I'm a DJ, you know, you need to have the record. It was a little bit tough. Yeah, it was like, I have the record, you're a kid, go to school. It was a little bit like also, okay, maximum respect, I love everyone, but it's just a funny anecdote to tell because like this guy sometimes was trying to sell us this kind of cheesy records. I remember one which is called Calcutta, and it was saying like Calcutta. Na, na. It was very cheesy for me. It wasn't like, but we were very up to date with all the charts because we were listening to the radio and all the Albertino, which is still one of the biggest radio and radio presenter. There is like for dance music, but not only. He helped a lot also in the hip hop field, but also is a dance producer as well. I don't know if you're familiar with Gigi D'Agostino, which is one of the most Italian artists, electronic music artists, you know, like Gigi D'Agostino. Back in the days was like, it sold like millions of copies. Yeah. I just want to say hello to him because like he's feeling very sick now, and I hope he will recover very soon. His music inspired me. But anyway, so he used to make, he made some tracks with Gigi D'Agostino, this guy. So it was very popular. So we were following those charts, you know, dance music charts, you know, like, so we were like up to date with the stuff. Yeah. So you were like, oh, well, I don't, this is too cheesy. You can't sell me that. I want some house music. I want something quality here. I was already listening to some, you know, Louis Vega, gospel house, something like.
His house is taking over the world by then.
And they were like, you can't fool me, man. I was also buying this Trend Discotheque magazine, and there were all the charts from DJs, you know, all the top DJs. I don't know, David Morales, you know, these kings, you know. And I was like, you know, well, look, David Morales is playing this. Let's find this. Can you order me this? You know, like. It was already, I mean, there was no internet, but we were trying to dig deeper into the dance music stuff as well. As a kid, I don't know, 16, 17 years old, but still, you know, we got in so much into the music with my friend. Now he's no longer making music, but he was a very, very techie guy. So we were programming as well. I mean, we were having fun with the computer in general. And so, you know, we were also up to date trying to learn like dance music, what is it, you know, and then slowly the hip hop became like also a big part of my life, right? I started breakdancing and trying to do the scratching, you know, like this type of beatboxing at the same time, trying to rhyme. horrible. Trying to do a little bit with the hip hop. The cool thing is with the hip hop is that you try to do a little bit of everything. You do the you know, graffiti writing.
Yeah, all the elements.
Yeah, all the elements. You try to do everything, and then you see which one is better for you. We're trying to do everything, you know, like at the beginning, late 90s, 1996, 1997, like trying to imitate also like the American. Also, I remember that was the time like when there was like the Bad Boy was super popular. So we saw this Puff Daddy on TV. It was like, he's God, like this Notorious B.I.G. is releasing, and there is, you know, like then there is a Tupac, you know, that I just came like right when there was like this West Coast versus East Coast thing, right? And then I started buying the magazines in Italy. There was a magazine called AL Magazine. Now it's no longer available. It was an amazing magazine. So I also started buying this type, the hip hop magazine, and discovered hip hop culture like more in depth at the same time, you know, going dance music, but also hip hop music. And then I got so deep into this culture. I felt that's more me in a way. I don't know, because in the dance music scene, I saw a lot of people doing drugs. Maybe I got a little bit, I never did drugs, you know, and I don't know, I got a little bit discouraged. I don't know, like, was like, is this the scene? But that was like a small part of this, you know, but I saw a little bit this and I got scared. And the hip hop guys were more like, you know, yeah, okay, marijuana, this type of stuff, like weed, of course, but never like doing the hard drugs back then, at least in Italy. It was more like conscious hip hop. You needed to follow the culture, Africa Bambaataa, you know, Grand Vizir Theodore, all the old school guys, you know, Grand Mixer DST. I started digging deeper into the music again. And I discovered that this hip hop thing actually is based on samples taken from the old records. Soul, from disco, from funk, from many different styles, progressive rock, etc. Then I discovered DJ Premier, you know, all the producer, Lars Professor, I don't know, then very soon Timbaland, you know, Scott Storch, like late 90s, you know, Alaya, rest in peace, and all this soul, R&B, Faith Evans, you know, so many. Okay, we can name millions. It was like so much music, you know, and then I got absorbed by hip hop, and then I said, I want to be more part of the hip hop culture. And then for a moment, I put the dance music aside and started more like practicing, trying to do my thing on the hip hop, like, and then that's when I started like also performing as a beatboxer, 1998, and then organizing the first hip hop events, 1999, 2000, you know, like local people. Then I met tons of people in the hip hop. It was like there was more like a sense of community in a way, right? Like we were all together doing the thing for the community, right?
And everyone loves what they're doing and spreading it.
Spreading love. It was like, you know, peace, love, and, you know, harmony, and just have fun in a way. Then I discovered that there was a whole school, Sugar Hill Gang, and all these people. Then, you know, disco, funk, and everything. It was like a lot to discover, you know, like the break beats, the classics, you know, Aim and Break. Also, then it reconnected me to the dance music. Oh, Aim and Break. Okay, there were the drum and bass guys were using the Aim and Break. Okay, cool. Okay, so the hip hop guys were using the same. And then in the end, like
it's so connected.
Yes, connecting the dots. You know, like this dot and then the other dot and this and that, and make sense of the whole thing. Like making sense, trying to also, because hip hop mixing and dance mixing is a little bit different. Hip hop mixing is more like, it's fast, you cutting, you scratching, and like you go, you back, like fast forward. It's much faster. So I had to learn this from the hip hop DJs already. I was like, okay, geez, I want to learn this thing. You know, like also they were very technical. They were talking about, you know, sure, this, you need to change the brands. You need to, you have the techniques. You need to have this if you want to be. That was a stigma thing. Like if you want to be professional, you need to have the techniques because they are more solid. They have a different construction and whatever, a hip hop mixer, scratch mixer, scratch battles. And then we started buying videos, cassettes, video cassettes, and started watching the Battle of the
stuff,
tutorials, Battle of the Year, New Music Seminar, or like the scratch battles. We got mesmerized. The hip hop was like, there was a lot to discover, and then we were like, geez, this is the culture. There's the whole thing to discover, and we got so into the hip hop that it absorbed us for like years and years and years. It was like, and also there was a curious one though saying like, it was like the teacher, like it was like hip hop. It was he is, teaching, that hip hop is something positive, is something good. And also we discovered the Jamaican roots of the hip hop because if I remember correctly, he's half Jamaican, half American, like Will Herc. And he had this Jamaican way of rapping in a way, like it's a little bit toasting. And then another thing, reggae. For me, in Sardinia, I discovered that there was like a scene even bigger than hip hop. Like we have a big reggae scene. So this culture, reggae also, like it was something like that influenced me as well. Like at the same time, I think, so many things.
You have all the same influences and loves that I do. It sounds like, because everything's so connected with each other.
And then I discovered that dance music was created by Black people, the Black community,
techno, house, electro, funk, everything basically.
I was like, okay, dub, and funk, disco. Okay, so disco and house are sisters, and disco and hip hop. Although sometimes the hip hop guy disagree with this, they are also friends. They are very close friends. Because
that's how it started.
The first MCs in the Bronx were rapping over some disco instrumentals, and there were people like Disco King Mario, one of the pioneers, who was also playing disco records during the disco and funk, of course. We can't forget funk, but during the hip hop jams, and they were rapping over this, Grandmaster Caz, all the New York guys, because you need to remember that hip hop was invented in the New York City, and then it got spread out, right? So like you're connecting the dots, and then in the end you see this Black community invented the word. Like in the 2 centuries, they revolutionized the music, right? The whole thing, jazz music.
No joke. Jazz was the swagger for the 21st century,
Right. Bebop, they were cool, hipster stuff, like, John Coltrane, all these guys, like, I don't know, you name it, Thelonious Monk, I don't know. I'm just giving you some big names, And also mixing this with rock, like Mahavishnu Orchestra, like fusion. That fusion is like a fusion, like that. The name itself, it's a mix of things, so many things, and also never, then connecting the dots and then discovering rock music, because also rock music was invented by the Black community,
Chuck Berry,
just to name one, right? And I was like, okay, rock music. I was like, okay, so rock music was, I thought, that rock music was invented by white people, right? But white community, I was like, okay, no, because I thought rock music is part of folk music, which is not really the case,
No,
I was like, okay,
not so much.
Like this, like Black community, just the music that we listen, it was invented, mainly by them, and then the white community in America, they joined later, right? Like in jazz, they joined way later. I remember the first jazz band that recorded was 1917. I don't remember now the name, and they were like Italian Americans also because I read a lot of books about jazz. I love jazz as well. And, they came very late, because 20 years later, like that's a lot.
So, that's a full-grown adult right there. 2
Yeah,
decades.
it's like it's amazing. I mean, and also, you know, the United States influenced me a lot, you know, because the American music is part of me. Of course, UK as well with jungle, but that's later, you know, dance music.
Yeah.
But also, of course, British rock, of course, we can't forget the Beatles, you know, and all the bands, the Birds, you know, Rolling Stones, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
UK and US, but mainly US. But the UK for like jungle, drum and bass,
Yeah.
dubstep, UK garage, all this UK stuff that basically in UK got remixed, re-emphasized. Like the reggae community, also they have a big reggae community. Can't forget. And this melting pot that in Italy we don't have. It's just starting right now, you know. There is a new generation of rappers now that they are from Morocco, from different places, you know, like from Africa, from Nigeria, from Senegal.
Yeah, I've seen some of those coming out too. Yeah.
Yeah,
big scene.
It's starting now with the trap, but back in the days we didn't have so many. I mean, there was an MC that I want to mention in Italy. It was Italian, but I don't remember the mother or the father. His name is Sean, and in my opinion, in the 90s, it was the same level as the American guys. It was he had this dope flow. He was in a band called Mel Merda, the late 90s. Now he's also a soul singer. So we had Phase 2 in Italy. Graffiti writer, old school. He lived in Italy for some time, and some people came, you know, like Vulcan for the graffiti. They came to Italy, but we didn't have this black community, you know, the African American African community, like for instance in France, that they had a big community. We can't forget MC Solar. He collaborated with Guru in Jazz Mataz, you know, like very famous beginning of the 90s, you know. We didn't have that. So it was hip hop was not very popular in the 90s. Now it's super popular everywhere in Europe. It's like here, even in Greece, it's super popular now among teenagers. The trap thing is just sometimes there are some things like locally that they are nice, they are original, but sometimes I feel that some of them are a little bit like a copy of, I don't know, Migos, this new wave of trap guys, you know, like sometimes.
Yeah, totally.
But we have original guys, and there is an Italian guy now called Fere Basta, and he made songs with Diplo, for instance. He had Quavo on his album, like he's pushing now. He had like a release party, if I remember correctly, recently in New York. He released an EP with a Jamaican producer called Italiano, and you know, he's trying to put Italy in the map. He has a big dreams, and that's what I think in Europe sometimes we're lacking. We think that we are not as good as the Americans, for instance. We think our music, you know, America is just one of a kind. I don't know. So there is this thing. In the 90s. Yeah, you understand what I mean? Like sometimes totally. We don't feel, I don't know, confident enough. And I admire people who are trying to change things, you know, to, you know, of course.
Which is wild. Yeah, because I always looked more towards Europe and all that scene. Anytime in electronic music, I feel like America kind of started it, and then Europe just adopted it and kind of took it over. And then the US got back into it with EDM in 2010 when marketing was in full.
Yeah, it was very strange in a way. Yes, because for instance, like super famous DJ, legendary DJ David Morales now is living in Genoa or somewhere in Italy. I don't remember now. Because he's saying, because I get more bookings in Europe now than the United States. So I said, why do I have to live in the United States if it's easier for me to travel around? And then not all of them are but like legends like Todd Terry, like they live in the United States, and like Louis Vega, or like, but there are some exceptions that they live in Berlin, like, or MCs like RAD Rugged Man, and he speaks German because he gets so many bookings in Germany or Europe. There are a lot of MCs as well, like in the hip hop, that they get a lot of bookings in Europe. And in Sardinia this year, we have like a special guest in August. It's 50 Cent. It's like, it sounds like a joke, like, because Sardinia is such a, it's big island but small island in a way. With, you know, when you hear 50 Cent in Sardinia, it's like, okay, what? 50, I don't know, 50 Cent, it sounds like it's not possible, you know. It's like, and people are like so excited, you know, because I mean 50 influenced me a lot. I mean, I know it's a thug hip hop kind of thing, but you know, I mean, he's an amazing rapper anyways. But America is still, you know, I feel that in the hip hop, especially in the urban stuff, is still dominating, you know, like it's still EDM, dance music, Skrillex, you know, Diplo. They are the guys who pushing, you know, America to be still in the map. For Louis Vega, but in a way, like classic house. But I feel that UK now is influencing American hip hop with the UK drill, like Pop Smoke, all these guys. Got influenced by the British, which is the first. I think it's the first time in the hip hop, you know, because in hip hop it's always been like an American thing. Don't touch this American hip hop, right? Like, I mean, for us, it's like it used to be also the way the record sounded for us was like, don't touch this, it's gold. They have an amazing studios and this. And now it's a little change, you know, but we also have Italians that mix engineers, and they moved to United States. Luca Pretolesi, so he's mixing Diplo, Skrillex. You see like him all the time in the studio together. Like he has like a super amazing studio in Studio DMI in LA. And you know, we are influencing each other now. Also Australia is also, had a lot of artists from Australia were really influencing the music, like Flume.
A lot of good stuff coming out of Australia.
Music. Yeah, also, you know, not only though, like rock music also. So there are a lot of bands from Australia, but also I see, because I love like this new wave of electronic music from Australia, that they are great, all these names, but there are more. I mean, a lot of also the Southeast Asia, Asia now, like BTS is also a thing in the United States, Korean pop, you know, influence.
that whole scene.
Oh no, I mean, finally, I'm happy that I mean, of course, in the music industry in America is something. I don't know, you've been doing this for centuries, right? So you revolutionize in a way, but I'm also very happy that local scenes are being heard, like in Africa, Afrobeat, Nigeria. I'm thinking now, I have the world map and I'm just trying to pick countries. Nigeria with the Afrobeat, Mavin Records, like they're killing it now. It's a record label, Nigerian, because I'm collaborating with some East African, West African artists. So, you know, we're talking a lot about, you know, like what's trending there. They have their own trap. They have like their music styles, Kuduro, Amapiano, I don't know, something.
Like, makes it like trap and high life or something.
Amapiano is like house music, but it's not house music. It's like, there has a different vibe. You have to listen to this. It's like an African thing. Like it's difficult to explain. You need to listen.
I understand. There's a few I know, but it's definitely hard to describe.
And of course, like also the African guys now are like recording with Drake, Burna Boy, like with Justin Bieber. You know, because the African American community, you know, knows that, you know, they coming from, a lot of them like coming from Africa. You know, old ancient relatives are from that continent, so they pay respect in a way to this scene. That's the way I see it, because it's also influencing each other, because Nigeria they have their own English slang, which is different than the Americans. American English, Nigerian English, Australian, they also have different flows, different way of rhyming. I'm very excited because sometimes people, they say, oh, in 2022, there is no good music. And I'm like, what? Are you kidding?
Yeah, there's so much, it's overwhelming sometimes.
No, sometimes they say, oh, back in the days, music used to be good. Jimi Hendrix and this and that, the Mamas and Papas, I don't know, you name it. I don't know, the ABBA, I don't know. Those acts were like legendary. And I know Freddie Mercury, I'm with no disrespect. I love all these bands that I mentioned to you, but I don't know, like I feel that it's so exciting to be now, in the music scene. Of course, there's so much music and it's overwhelming, but at the same time, I discover like crazy stuff, experiment. We have more tools. I don't know. In my opinion, music is going forward the right way. I understand some people maybe from my age. I don't want to feel I don't feel old at all, but sometimes they say
no, neither do I.
I used to
think we're around the same age.
Of course, maybe I'm not so connected with some trap lyrics. You understand what I mean? So it's not my thing. Like it's not I'm not going to crack houses. I'm not going to sell dope or I don't know, whatever. I'm not hustling,
Yeah.
I'm not collecting gold. I don't care about bragging about this type of. I listen to the lyric, but it was like that back in the days with the, West Coast hip hop as well. But also hip hop started with like showing off because they were poor, and they wanted to show that they got, famous, rich.
Yeah, and they made it.
Starting from the bottom, now we're here, right? In a way. Yeah. So I feel, in a way, I feel that it's still connected. Of course, it doesn't influence me as a person. Of course, I'm not living that life. I wasn't born in there. I wasn't born in ghettos or like, projects. But I understand what they're talking about. But it does, it's like when Dr. Dre was talking about, bragging about this and that. So I have my girls. And blah, 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 blah. Anyways, it never influenced me in a way. Like, but yeah, of course, it was like, for me, it was like a movie, It was like, okay, it's fiction, It's trying to create a persona, right? As this,
exactly.
Like Snoop legend, like they created, Snoop is one of a kind. He has this amazing flow. Wherever you put Snoop, it sounds amazing. I don't know. I love Snoop. Wherever you can put in, I don't know, polka song, it sounds amazing.
It's got the charisma as well. So
of course,
that helps.
I don't know. Like I feel there is a connection anyway. Just wanted to say that for me, like, there is not such a thing like the hip hop like back in the days and nowadays. Of course, there is a conscious hip hop. There used to be, and there will always be. Kendrick Lamar, I don't know. There is different. There are so many different styles of hip hop. I don't know. Nas, I don't know. You name it. Anyways, okay, that was like a parenthesis trying to talk about. Yeah.
Let's figure out what you've got going on this year. I've got all your stuff off of Bandcamp. I've got your sample, your ROMO Groove sample pack. What else do you have planned for this year? Festivals or productions, whatever.
There's so much going on. Like I'm just trying to talk about something first and then something else. Okay, so first I started DJing again, finally, after 2 years of lockdown, being locked at home. Made a lot of music, but didn't release a lot of music. I released a sample pack, which is in free download. People can download it for free on my website. And then I recently collaborated with a very popular record label called Dharma, and I created a sample pack for them. a beatbox sample pack. Forgot to say that.
Nice.
So very forward-thinking sounds, like with vocoders tweaked, like very experimental. And that's
Cool.
gonna be released very soon. I already signed a contract and released they have everything, so it should be released like in the coming weeks, I hope. They didn't tell me the date. And if people maybe are not aware what Dharma is, they do online courses, sample packs, and I'm sure they know the American/Indian EDM producer Kashmir, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an American label. They are, if I remember correctly, based in Los Angeles. So talking about American EDM, forgot that there is a new wave also of producers who are really doing it big, making it big. And that's gonna be released soon. And I have 10 songs or more, almost there. We finalizing. I started collaborating with people recently from all over the world, no boundaries.
Nice.
During lockdown, I said that's the right time to do it because we are all stuck at home, and I love collaborating with people, and I felt the need really to just try to collaborate with as many people from different countries as possible. So I don't know, I have a song coming out with the Beninese Nigerian singer, but she lives in Canada. So her name is Rainy B, and she sings and slash raps in French and English. Cool. Because she's bilingual, so she's cool. Also, she lives in Montreal, so sometimes we speak French as well. And then I have another collaboration with a singer from Senegal, very good singer. Another one that will be released soon. Then a singer from the UK, Roxy. This one is more like beat. There is a lot of beatboxing involved. I have working with us on a song with an Australian singer, Lithuanian, of course Italians, Greeks. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing some. I don't remember. I'm thinking like different people from different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Basically, like a lot. Brazil. Yeah, forgot a Brazilian singer. And yeah, like yeah, the song is like Brazilian house, future house. I don't know, something like that. I don't know. It's very difficult to describe like what's the music about if you don't listen to it. But anyway, there is a lot going on. You know, there is a lot of stuff going on for sure. And because I'm doing everything by myself, because I'm independent, indie artist, how they call it. For now, so I'm trying to do everything by myself: the marketing, the production, the promotion. I also DJ, beatbox. I recently performed at the Athens Music Week. It was like a set blending like beatboxing and DJ together. Like it was like a showcase of my production plus show, beatboxing and DJing. So that I played some of the song I will be releasing. Cool. So there is definitely a lot going on, like in my life at the moment. So I can't complain. I'm very happy, and I see a bright future in front of me. So I hope that now after the pandemic, we will be able to travel. Because I love traveling and I miss traveling. I've played DJ sets in Southeast Asia, in Thailand years ago. I played in Europe. I never played in the US, so I would like to, start probably, playing in America or Canada, like never. I've been there. I lived in the US, but never played as a DJ. So I would love to do that as well and connect with more, American musicians and so on. So, I don't know. I'm very excited. I don't know. Yeah. I'm very excited. When we're talking about music, I'm getting excited. I'm thinking about my production and stuff. Like, oh my God, I have to finish this.
The same way, and all these collaborations and all these people. We live in a day where it doesn't matter what kind of music you like, you'll find someone else that loves it as well. And and a whole thriving community somewhere. And yeah,
Yes.
it's
Yeah, definitely. Like I was this conference recently. I connected with so many people, and like I felt we felt the need of talking to each other about music, you know, in person. You understand what I mean? It was like I really need to talk to someone about, because I was talking to someone like on Skype, on Zoom, or whatever, but I missed the human touch. You understand what I mean? The human connection, the vibing with people, trying to talk and like see the facial expression, like the touching. I don't know.
I know there's like an electricity you can't feel when you're in the digital world, ironically, but yeah.
In a way, yeah. Sometimes you know, we also miss that, connecting as a musician and then collaborating in person. Recently, I forgot to say, I'm collaborating also with a Brazilian producer, Guto, that I say hello to Guto. I forgot to see, because so many things going on, and I keep on forgetting the things. Then he came here to my place, so we created a song together after years of, you know, lockdown. So that was also a great experience. Again, you know, working with someone like close, you know, and creating something together. And it's amazing. You know, I love that's why some music, I know that there are bedroom producers out there. I respect that. I am, I think, part of this category at times. You know, at times I'm not. I like to collaborate because I'm also a beatboxer and performer. But I feel something, you know, the need of having, I don't know, guitar player, saxophone player, a musician, you know, some like connection, singer, another beatboxer, whoever, you know, musicians, you know, like to create something together, mess around, sometimes experiment, you know, but then create. Sometimes you can also with music, it's like sometimes you create something amazing, sometimes you create like something which you're not 100% there, that you need to review. But there are a lot of, like, when you are two or more people involved in something, you know, that you have so many ideas and things. For everything, like for melodies, for hooks, for riffs, for whatever, that maybe you wouldn't come up by yourself, you know. That's the thing. Yeah, that's why I love about music. Also, the human factor that was missing. That.
Yeah, the two brains working as one.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna get back into the music here, but we're gonna start off by playing Your Life, one of your tracks, Your Life, featuring KDJ.
Yes.
You have anything you want to say about this track?
Yes, it has a because I love UK garage, because I live in the UK as well, and that has a, you know, UK garage, like producers like LB. They had a huge like impact, horsepower production. You know, they had a big impact on my sound, and you can hear in this track that there is basically the backbone of the track is UK garage, and then there is
that's why I love it.
Yeah, they also like there is like a downbeat trap-ish influence. And the singer is from Nashville, and she has a rock background. It was interesting it was a challenge for me, because I love challenge myself. So I said, why don't let's find like a girl like that. She doesn't have a dance background, because that's easier, right? Because she will be something different, you know. So in my opinion, the vocal has this rock vibe. So she's a rock singer. Anyways, that's
cool though,
I think.
Okay, well, I appreciate your time today, Romo.
Thank you for having me.
Much appreciated.
It was a real pleasure, Stuart.
Take care.
You too. Yo, yeah.
Yeah.